South African survivor specialist Alexa and Robert. I comment on his hair every time. It has never looked so good.
I added this curling product thanks to my friend Elise, who is definitely not watching this, but I look fabulous.
Shout out to Elise. Yes, women would kill for your hair. We are back, and we are back.
We're back.
The final four of Survivor, South African Survivor in Philippines of the 6th season, and Werner is gone.
He's gone. Oh my God. It happened.
It happened. I don't think we're going to have an Annelise and Tara sneak back into the game. I don't think he's going to win this. He is gone, and I am shook and very confused.
Yeah.
Getting rid of him was the right move, but we are now at a very similar crossroads where we were with Australian Survivor of who is going to win this?
Who wins now? I don't know. I mean, because for the past, since Tony left, at least I've been saying that Werner's going to win, but I don't know, what happens now. We said last week it was Werner at the top and then everyone else way down here. And now Werner's gone, so I don't know what's going on.
Completely gone. And to me, this is John's game to lose. I do not understand how Tom can win, and I don't see how Annelise can win. I don't really see how Jean can win either. I assume they can't stand her.
I don't know how anyone wins.
I don't know. I see I don't know. I mean, this is kind of a larger conversation, or maybe not so much about this episode in specific, but I do find it interesting that people spoke really highly of this season and really highly of Australian Survivor Season 2, and both have end games that are not they're just way different from American Survivor.
Right.
And
right.
I think I like it because sometimes you get to the final three and you know who's going to win. That it's more often than not that you know who's going to win or you can figure it out. In this situation, it feels obvious, but I could be super off.
Yeah, I think just going off of edit stuff, I feel like Annelise isn't going to win, but I also don't know. And then but you could say that for Tom or Jean too, right? Tom's been oh, no one likes him, he's annoying, but then in the background we've seen him getting along with people, and then Jean has just been the straight man, straight woman kind of thing of just oh, I'm tired of these people.
Yeah.
But that's been kind of it. And then we get this episode where there's a lot of strategic stuff going on, even though there's 4 people. And then Werner goes home. So it's we still lose the strategic threat. And I don't know what's going on.
Right. And he took it like such a champ. I think he almost pulled that off so well, saving himself. But I mean, I guess let's dive into it a little bit. Annelise specifically, we talked about how we didn't even know what alliance she was in.
Right.
She was quiet even then. She always felt kind of the runt of the litter in that majority alliance that got the 3 of them to where they are today. She's ready to play, and I feel every episode she's I'm ready to play my own game. I got this extra vote, or steal a vote. I don't even remember which one it is.
The extra vote, yeah.
Doesn't really go into anything.
No, yeah, absolutely not. Right.
And now we're at the final 4, and she's at the first confessional, she's I'm a little sick of John, I'm ready to play my own game. And you've got to play your own game. You're at the final 4.
I feel like it's too late for that, right? Because now, ultimately what happens is that Jean wins immunity, and then if you want to play your own game, you can't say that when you vote for Werner and everyone else is voting for Werner. I mean, yeah, it's the right choice, but you're still not creating the plan or anything. John made the plan. And if you're waiting until final 4 to play your own game, you're not really doing that.
Exactly. And I feel she's going to get berated because I feel this is not the best term. I'm trying to think of a more appropriate term. She told a lot of people that she was going to try to do something with them and then didn't do it. So I feel she talked to Tony, she's talked to Tony, she talked to Katinka, wants to get rid of Jean, is down to get rid of people, and just it never comes to fruition. And that could say a lot about how people maybe she didn't just have the social clout that other players did, but it also didn't seem like the effort was totally there.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. This whole end game is it's really throwing me for a loop. But let's start off with at the beginning. All right. So we get back, and then we see Werner talking about how loose lips sink ships. That's kind of a tongue twister. And how like Katinka got what was coming to her. Just kind of, I guess there wasn't really much strategy talk there. It was more just like, oh, I got Katinka, you know.
Yeah, like I think that was just a matter of like Katinka's the only person who defied me, so she must die.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of felt like a little bit of a threat, like, hey, you guys better not do this too. But it wasn't he wasn't yelling at anyone or anything.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. He is like a very likable guy. Like he was great.
Right.
But so I mean, let's go to this reward challenge. So you win a spa experience and a smartphone. We love a good smartphone.
I do need a phone upgrade, which would be nice.
Of a phone that I've never heard of. So Robert,
Huawei's like a Chinese company or something.
Yeah.
Besides that, I don't know anything.
Yeah, it looked cool. And this is like the classic like block stacking. Specifically, I remember this from like Redemption Island seasons, but it's on a lot of seasons. I think it's on Gabon.
It's on a lot of seasons, yeah.
I'm a sucker for this. I'm a sucker for this challenge. I think it's very equalizing, especially when it is super windy and you can't even remotely strap.
Well, we started off and they like showed off the challenge, and I'm like, wow, that seems like really short for like the dominoes challenge. Yeah. But then like all the wind was blowing, and it was just like impossible to like do anything. I was thinking that if I would be there, then I would just like sit and wait for the wind to die or something, and just be like, I hope it doesn't, you know, like this is the wind is weak enough. I'll just do it now and sit around for 5 minutes until it happens. It just seems so like maybe in American Survivor seasons, do they like, are the blocks heavier, or do they wait for the wind to die? Like, I don't know.
I don't know, because I'm sure they've had wind problems before. And normally like I think John made a comment like, you know, if you're short, this is an extra difficult challenge.
Right, definitely.
Really hightail it over the beams. But there was another challenge earlier this season where it was like every single person was doing well, but it was windy. And so every single person got to the finish and then like completely collapsed. Yeah,
I mean, I feel like having wind be in like other challenges is fine, because it's, I don't know. It's just like, if it's in like one of those like balance things where you have to like hold up the pole really high, and it's like, all right, yeah, the wind's fine there because like, you know, everyone's going to get out at the same time. But if this is like literally preventing you from winning the challenge, you know, it's like, I guess if it's like a winning versus like a not losing challenge, and that's what makes the
weird. That's
but this one is just like, they're just like not doing anything. Like I'm wasting my time. So.
Yeah. But Tom pulls it off, and Tom has been on a little challenge run recently.
He has.
Wins reward, and he is like wild. Like he is like screaming and dancing, and it's very confusing.
When Nico announced the reward, I was like, like whatever. They're gonna be clean in 3 more days. And like I guess a phone's cool. But like this was like Tom like just won Survivor or something.
Tom may as well have just won the game with that. I mean, it was really cool. He's like made a comment about like needing a new phone, or like maybe he didn't have a phone, which I thought that was really cool. But yeah, you're right. Like I feel like the spa experience when you're at the final 4, it's also, to me, it's a little unclear if there's a final. Well, it's obviously there's a final 2 now, or I guess there's a final 2 on the season. I don't really know, but that hasn't been like super clarified like during this episode. But you're right. Like everyone's going to be clean in a few days. Like I feel like this is one where you need the overnight, you need the protein and the meat and all that. But
even like
very good spa.
Even like an overnight thing, I would have been like, yeah, there you go. Now you get some sleep for the next challenge. But it did. You are right. It did look like a good spa. And
it looked way better than the usual spa. Like there was a huge pool. It looked like a camp, like a real live like spa place,
as opposed to like some spas where it's like, here's a shower and a bar of soap, you know.
Yeah, it's like here's like the massage table and there's 3 people blocking the entrance.
Like that's it.
Bigger than it is.
Yeah.
And he picks John, and I thought that was a little telling that he didn't pick Werner, but so maybe at that point like the thought of getting rid of Werner is like kind of like actually planted a seed in his mind.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see conversations afterwards about like the whole dynamics about how the vote could potentially go down, and you know, maybe there's a chance that happened before the reward challenge that we didn't see, and there were like some rumblings or whatever. So it was like if Tom had chosen Werner, it would have been a lot different of an episode, I think.
Yeah, totally. And so he and John have a really like great interesting conversation at this point where they're talking about like how they think they can beat each other, which to me was really funny because Tom genuinely says, I don't know if I can beat Werner. And I was like, you cannot. Like you literally can't. Like they must be like, I think there's just something different when you're like actually there versus like watching, but hearing him and Jean go back and forth, like, I don't know, I think we could like maybe beat each other. It was just like really interesting.
Right. Well, I thought it was interesting because that made me feel like they were going to take each other as opposed to just like taking Werner or something.
Right.
Because if they were like, oh yeah, I can definitely beat Werner. Like you want to take people to the end that you think you can beat. Right. So I was like, oh, they're kind of working out something. Like they have a shot against each other as opposed to having no shot against Werner.
Yeah. And I couldn't tell if they were like kind of BSing each other or not, but I mean, clearly they end up working together on this vote to an extent, or believing that they can't beat Werner. And they talk a little bit about the Katinka vote too, and how he like Tom even thought that he could beat Katinka, but Werner wanted her gone, so then she was gone. So I think maybe Tom finally feels like I can play my own game. I maybe don't need Werner anymore, and I could have a chance to beat John, which maybe he doesn't.
Maybe it's something like this group of four has been trying to get to the end together for a while, and now that they have, it's like, all right, I guess we did it. Now what do we do? Oh, we have to turn on each other. So
yeah, exactly. And it's like we're at the final four, and this is the first time Jean is like, all right, I'm actually ready to get rid of Werner now, because the jury's been rolling their eyes at me, and it's like they've been rolling their eyes at you for a month.
Right, and it's good that like, I mean, I guess like every other time Werner's been protected by an idol or by individual immunity, but like it's good to see that like when they finally do get a chance that they're actually taking it as opposed to like whatever.
Yeah, maybe I'll do it. Back at camp, we have Werner and Annelise who are together, and they both have like dueling confessionals where they're like, I don't know, we don't talk to each other that much, but I guess we have to.
We're the only people left. It's just us two.
Yeah, and Werner is like, I don't want to pander to her, but I just want to make her like me so that she votes for me when she's inevitably on the jury, which LOL. And she is like, I don't even know what her thought. I think she doesn't really want to work with him. But they end up like hanging out and it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there has to be at least some level of trust if you're this far in the game. Like, even if you don't fully trust them, you're like, I trust them a little bit. I trust them enough.
Yeah, and again, when it's like two there and two there, they're, you can't make any major strategy decisions.
Right.
And just the way that breakout worked, like John and Tom were always Werner's like tight allies.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I guess to like get to the immunity challenge, like we go into this, and I still think I go into the immunity challenge assuming that John is going to go home. I think Werner is going to be able to pull this off. I think he's going to win the game. And I assume he's going to be dragging Tom and Annelise. Where do you like, based on like how the strategy talk has gone so far, like where did you think this was going to fall?
This part I didn't know, because we had I guess all this the major strategy talk was afterwards. I thought that Werner wasn't going to win immunity. I felt like there was enough going on where it was like, oh, like as long as we just beat him in the individual immunity, then we'll be able to get him. So I didn't know how it was going to turn out, if it was going to be fire making or if it was going to be just a straight 3-1. But I felt like Werner was going home at this point. Okay.
Well, he does, because he doesn't win this immunity challenge. This is a huge, awesome challenge.
This is such a fun challenge. It's like pretty similar to like, I guess, what was it? It was in Heroes vs. Villains, and it was in Worlds Apart also, I think.
Yeah, I think it was in Guatemala too.
It's just dope. It's so cool.
It's so much fun. These ones are usually reserved for like the final challenges.
Right.
This is one where I didn't expect Jean to win, just because you have to be kind of like quick on your feet. You have to be really fast, and she did great. And this has like the hanging dragon puzzle, which is
it's supposed to just like a slide puzzle or something. It's like it's a 3D puzzle that you have to like put together, and also like when they're hanging, it's like you got to figure out how gravity works with all of them too. So I love the puzzle.
Adding the gravity is just terrible.
Yeah, it's hilarious. Well, also I thought there was the part of the challenge that Tom does first, where you like put the planks in front of each other on the ropes, I thought that was really smart of him to go there first, because like obviously it's taking longer than everything else. And I think what John should have done at the end, I mean, maybe this would have been a bad idea, but like because it takes the longest, and if everyone else does all their stuff first, then like people are still going to be waiting on the really long thing at the end. And so we get to the end and we see that John and Werner are like both trying to do this one part at the same time. And so if John had been there like 10 seconds earlier, Werner would have just had to wait around. So if John wanted to be mean, she could have been like, I got here first, and then kicked him off. But like, she didn't need it. She still wins.
Not at all. Yeah, and good for her. I don't think she's won an immunity yet, or I don't think she's won many challenges. So she really nailed it. And I think this definitely affects the dynamic a bit, because I assume that like Jean's name has come up a few times, like out of Werner's mouth. And I think he probably sees her as the only person who could even remotely give him some trouble at the final tribal. So I'm sure he sees this and he is like, crap, that can't be good. But maybe I can just hit Annelise.
And so, yeah, we get past the immunity challenge, and then we start to see Werner play like very, very hard, which I thought was super cool, especially after like the rest of the season being like Werner being like all right, everyone like make sure that we're like staying in place, not trying to deceive anyone, just being like, here are the votes, let's do them. Like seeing him like actually be able to play a more chaotic game and like start to like plant seeds and like make sure that people don't talk with each other, I thought was really cool.
Yeah. I mean, planting those seeds of doubt. And like, I feel like this happens in every Final Four where everyone's like, all right, I'm just going to talk to everybody one by one. Like, let's all just go off single file. But he does it in a way that's very like, he pits them against each other without making any like PK and Tom kind of drama, you know?
Right.
He like starts this with guys are going to vote for Annelise and the girls are going to vote for him. So he's assuming like at net, there's probably going to be a fighter making challenge. Right. And then he tries to pull Annelise over and says, why don't we all just vote Tom? Which I thought like at face value is actually a really good idea. Because that's a bit of a like, oh, let's level the playing field. Like, let's all get to the final three and deserve it. But it's completely BSing her on that, which I thought was great.
It was so good because like
he like convinced me.
Yeah, the fire making, that would be cool. But if you could like make a 2-1-1 at the Final Four happen, which like I know it hasn't happened in American Survivor, but like I was like, oh, does it happen in South African Survivor? Like, is this the time? So I was really nervous because like that would be like if you pull that off, like you kind of just basically win unless you lose the final three immunity challenge. Yeah. So that was it was really going into tribal council. It was like, is it going to be 3 votes for Tom or 3 votes for Werner? Is it going to be a tie vote for Werner? Or is Werner going to like manage to like get this like 2-1-1 off? And so that was a really intense of which vote was going to happen. It
was so cool. And again, I'm like a little shocked it hasn't happened before. I think it requires an even Final Four and not a Final Four that's like David Wright and Ken and Hannah. Like it requires a Final Four where everybody like views themselves on the same playing field. However, while Werner's trying to pull Annelise over to vote Tom, Annelise instead goes to Tom and talks about getting rid of Werner. And I think Tom is clearly just like finally open to this. But like still you don't know which way this is going to go because Tom obviously has a ton more loyalty to Werner than he does to Annelise. And he's really like made such a thing about that.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a lot of the loyalty that like has to be fractured at this point. And so if you can find those cracks, that's going to benefit you greatly. So
exactly. So he's kind of like what you said, like we're either going to go to fire or there's going to be a 2-1-1. And I think Werner, like, I don't know if at this point he's overplaying because I do think he's like doing the right thing with trying to pull Annelise over to vote out Tom. But then he goes to Jean and like does that semi-blackmail thing that PK does to him. What do you think about that? He tells Jean if she makes him make fire, he will not take her to the end.
I had some thoughts about this. I think that Jean is right to just call the bluff completely because either because if if he's lying, then whatever, he'll just take you to the end. But like, I don't think. Okay, so in Tom's ideal plan, Annelise gets voted out. Werner and Tom, it's Werner, Tom, John in the final three. I don't see a world where Werner wouldn't be taking Tom to the final three anyways, either because of the loyalty of like the bromance to each other, or because like people just hate Tom and they're not going to vote for him, right? So you just got to be like, all right, that was like, this is going to happen anyways. Like I'm, it kind of seemed like it seemed threatening, but like it wasn't like John wasn't losing anything by calling the bluff.
Yeah, and it wasn't like particularly threatening. Like, and I think that's like part of his charm. Like when PK did it to Werner, it's like, I don't know. Or like when Spencer does it to Jeremy in Cambodia, it's just like, come on, like this isn't fun. But right. I think he did it in a way that kind of like tried to pull on John's heartstrings a bit, and good for her. Like she doesn't buy it. Like she does not give it to him whatsoever.
I guess from Werner's standpoint, I don't know if it was too much or not, because you're already trying to make the 2-2 happen. You're already trying to make the Annelise vote happen. Is it? I mean, I guess you got to like throw everything to the wall and see what sticks. But maybe it would have been better to I don't know. I feel like it was fine. Maybe I'm just being annoyed at it, but
yeah, I mean, it's kind of cheap. It's like Werner didn't like it when PK did it.
It feels cheap. Yeah, it feels cheap. That's basically what it's like.
Yeah,
and it's not like
it's like you're talking about something outside of the game in a way,
Right.
What was I going to say? It's also like at that point, like how can he promise her to the final two? Like I think if I'm Jean, it's like if the two of us happen to make it to the final three, like what's making you actually hold up to that?
Yeah, no, that's also what it is that if I'm Jean and I'm in the final three with Werner and Tom and Werner wins immunity and Werner takes me, I'm still going to lose. Right. So I might as well try to play for the win.
Yeah, exactly. So we get to tribal council, and I don't have a ton of notes on tribal council other than the fact that the jury is amped that John won immunity.
Yeah, they were so excited, dude. That was great.
It was great. This is a very gregarious, maybe gregarious is the wrong word. Like this jury is very involved, and I feel like Jeff would not have it, except with like Edge of Extinction. He loved that, but like this jury is like
at war or anything. Yeah.
Yeah, they're like they're not really communicating, but they sort of are. Like it's very clear what the jury thinks. Right. And they're like loving that John won. And I don't think it's so much that like they like that John is going farther, but I think they like that Werner is very exposed.
Interesting, because I did feel like it was like, oh yeah, let's go, Jean. Like that, like we're so proud of you. That's what I felt like. But I mean, I could totally. I mean, they also at the end they did all like we're happy that like Werner left. So
Yeah, because then when he gets voted out, they were like, frickin' finally, like
yeah. It took so long. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. Like I think they didn't want Werner to win. They definitely didn't want Tom to win. I don't think they feel any way about Annelise. And John, for what it's worth, is like she's quite funny. Like I have been like pretty critical of her, but her humor is very good, and I feel like she can definitely like play a jury well if people didn't hate her alliance.
Right. Yeah. I mean, she's making moves. Maybe they'll like her.
She sure is. And so we get the tribal council, and Werner is voted out 3-1. He is gone. He's not very shocked. I think maybe we were like shown that there was maybe more of a chance for him to survive than there actually was. But Werner is I don't know what number. I think he's like juror number 6 or 7 maybe, but he is done. And we have a final three of Jean, Annelise, and Tom, which is mind blowing.
All right. Who do you think is going to win, Alexa, out of all these three?
I think it has to be Jean. I think it has to be. I don't understand how Tom. I don't see how Tom can win. I think it's like, I forget who made this theory, but when you have 3 people who are in the same alliance in a final tribal council, like if you and I are in an alliance and then Phil is not in our alliance and we're all at the final tribal, then people are going to vote for Phil. Right. So Jean is like, she's an original Mindanao. I think like we're way past that. Tom has offended too many people on the jury and just has been like unlikable. Like I don't know what Tom will say. I think Annelise will try to like, she'll say she like tried to bring Tony, like tried to do something with her extra vote. Jean, I think, can take some credit for Werner's moves, and she like does that all the time. It always bothers me, but now she can do that. Mm-hmm. What do you think?
I don't know. Part of me just wants to make this interesting, and I think Tom might win.
Why?
I don't know. Well, because I don't know if Jean can win another challenge. And if Tom wins...
You're right. We do have another vote. You're right.
We do have another challenge. And if Tom or Annelise win, they probably vote out Jean. And out of Tom and Annelise, maybe
That would be the most wild final two.
Yeah. But I don't know. I don't think Jean wins. Well, actually, Jean is definitely the second most like... If Jean wins the immunity challenge, then she wins. I just don't think that's likely.
Yeah.
I don't think Annelise wins.
Yeah, I think... Oh God,
I'm so crazy for saying that.
I know, but yeah, you're right. Like nobody, like if Jean or Annelise win, they take you. You have to take Tom to the end. I think you have to. Like if Jean wins immunity, she should take Tom to the end. If Annelise wins immunity, she should take Tom at the end. But
I don't know. I don't know, man.
I don't know.
It's a hard call. I also don't want to agree with you because that's funnier. And then if I'm right, I could brag.
If you're right that Tom wins, then I'll give. I don't know. I'll give.
And
you
if I lose, then whatever. It's okay. It was a bad idea.
It's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
I'm impressed we've stayed unspoiled this whole time.
Me too. Yeah.
Shout out to everyone for being great.
Thanks for not spoiling me.
I'm now just very confused.
I am ready to not be confused.
I need to see the light. But yeah, so we have, I think it's like a 2-hour finale.
2-hour finale. Are we doing the reunion too?
I will watch it. I don't think we have to like discuss it, but
if it's cool, we'll discuss it. If it's lame, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have to make a whole thing about the reunion, but it'll certainly come up a little bit. But
also,
go ahead.
On the next time on Survivor, we did see that it's going to be the final two, and the winner of the challenge is going to eliminate a jury member, which is interesting.
Oh, okay. Well, let's do that.
I just assumed you didn't watch that.
I definitely didn't watch that. So, who do you think each of them would pick?
I should have prepared this. No,
I know.
I was going to bring it up.
I think Tom would get rid of either Shanae or Palesa.
Or PK?
Oh, great choice. He'd actually probably get rid of PK because there's enough of a like semi-relationship with
Palesa. Yeah. I agree.
PK just like hates his guts. So Tom gets rid of PK. Who does Annelise get rid of? Maybe Tony, because Tony like.
That's what I was thinking, but I felt like Tony would be cool about it. Like I don't know. I guess Tony would know that Annelise betrayed her because of all the other information from the jury. So I would think Annelise would choose Tony.
Yeah. Tony also just seems very angry, like generally. So in a good way.
Yeah, and then who does John get rid of?
I don't know if too many people. I think she keeps Werner. I think like
he keeps Werner.
I don't think he would sour. I don't think he would play like that. Who do you? We have Shanae, Vusi, Palesa. I mean, she could get rid of Vusi just because he doesn't know her, and like
does anyone get rid of Katinka?
I feel like Katinka's like affable. Like I feel like she's taking this in stride.
I say T-word. That's a lot. Yeah, no, I agree. That's probably fine. So yeah, probably Vusi. Just because she doesn't know him.
Yeah, we have Vusi, Shanae, Palesa, PK, Werner, Tony. That's 7. I feel like there's maybe one more. Yeah, I don't really. Maybe Vusi or Tony. Maybe people get rid of Tony. Yeah. That could sway things in like. I think that could benefit Tom the most.
But I do also agree that I don't think anyone gets rid of Werner. I think Werner is like cool with it.
Yeah, I think it's like Werner, Katinka, Palesa, like they all, Shanae too, like they all seem to have good like energy.
They respect the game, yeah.
Yeah, I think Tony respects the game too. I just think she's like upset.
Also angry.
She's consistently angry. Yeah. I think the person who would benefit the most from winning this is Tom.
Yeah, definitely, because there's a lot of more like specifically angry people at him than the other two.
This will be interesting. I don't know. Maybe Tom does have a shot, but I don't buy it.
I don't know, man. I'm taking a risk out here, but that's what we're doing.
We both had Werner winning. You had Werner and Tony. I had Werner and I don't know, like Shanae probably. So I think I had Josie. I think I really liked Josie.
Josie was cool.
So stay tuned for this wild finale. This season started with Werner eating a clue to a hidden immunity idol, and has now ended with him getting voted out of the final four. That is a growth arc.
Pretty good. That is a fantastic growth arc. Good job, Werner.
What else do you have before we sign off here?
I'm just excited to watch the finale. I haven't watched the Survivor finale, and I guess I watched the Australian Survivor finale. But like, it's always been too long. It's never long. It's never been. Yeah, I just want to watch the finale. Finales are great. Yeah, excited for next week's podcast.
Yeah, so we're doing this at some point next week. Monday is my birthday. Thank you. So
happy birthday, Alexa.
Thank you, everyone. We will now be podcasting on Monday. We might do Tuesday or Wednesday. It's very unclear at the moment. So stay tuned for that. We'll be recapping the 2-hour finale and the reunion if it's interesting. Thank you for joining us on this wild ride. This has been a lot of fun. International Survivor is like better and worse than American Survivor in so many ways, and it's been a really fun like palate cleanser before going into 41.
Yeah, no, and it's glad that we were able to like actually see the light at the end of the tunnel with this off-season content. I mean, I've enjoyed it. I hope you guys have too. I'm glad that we will, because I don't know, it's running out of ideas, man. There's only so much we can do.
There's only so much we can do. There's only so many photos of season 41 that we can stare at. So
yeah, there's only so many like random combinations of Ultimate Survivor episodes that we can make, or you guys can make, which is so fun. Which is
insane. All right, everyone, we love you. Have a wonderful hump day, and we will see you all at some point next week.
Happy Pride Month. Happy Pride Month.